Hi there, welcome to the new session. In this session, we are going to discuss about international HR activities. Uh, in the last sessions, we discussed about marketing and finance. So now we discuss about HR activities in this session. So in international HR activities, we are going to discuss about the planning, recruitment, selection, and some of the cross-cultural issues in international business. Okay. Now, if you see what is human resources, first of all, human resources are nothing but so procuring and just stimulating towards stimulating the employees towards our organization and selecting them and placing them properly in the right position, in the right place, uh, and treating them as resources to the organization and providing some of the benefits to create employee loyalty in the minds of the employees. So all these things were the activities usually that is nothing but human resources, just like the functions, the functions of human resources, what they usually do. So they'll procure, they'll select, they'll do some kind of interviews, they finally they'll select and they'll place in right position. So all that is human resources. Now let us see, so what are the activities uh, in our topics in our subject. So what are the international human resource activities? So the first activity that usually at international human resources will be done is human resource planning, which is nothing but global human resource planning or human resource planning at international level. So human resource planning provides the essential link between MNC strategy and people who makes the strategy work, including outsourced workers. Right. So it is a link between MNC and also with the workers and also with the outsourced workers. So global HR planning should be responsive to both short-term and long-term needs of the needs and plan to the organization and in the worldwide operations. Means sometimes to fulfill the short term things, short term work. Suppose if you are having 3 months project or 6 months project, to fulfill that short term, we need to hire some of the employees. So if we, for long term, so if it is for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, so for that we need to hire the employees. So human resources has to manage both the short term and long term. So it is responsible, human resources are responsible for all uh, means responsible for both short term and long term needs that is to be planned worldwide to in order to accomplish their objectives. So here what they usually do means how the planning will be done means based on we may not have, excuse me 1 minute. Right. So analyzing organizational objectives, based upon the organizational objectives, here your planning should be done, whether it is for employees or selection of employees or okay. Okay, based upon your organizational objectives. So analyzing your planning will be dependent. And one more thing, present human resources, how much, how present, plan for the present means estimate the present one, and then you will have an estimation for the future. So forecasting demand and supply of human resources means you need to forecast before itself, means how much, how many number of employees are required to carry on a particular task, and you have to estimate it before itself, and then you have to fulfill that demand and supply of human resources. And estimating manpower gaps means, if you see, some people were retired or some people were leaving the organization, sometimes a gap will be created. So how to fulfill that gap? Before itself, you need to estimate, you need to plan to fulfill that gap, and equivalent employee has to be brought, and they has to maintain, uh, they has to be bridge up the gap that we found between the manpower, right? And formulating the human resources action plan also. So finally, once if all these things are done, monitoring, controlling, and feedback all has to be look after. So all these are nothing but the activities of means the functions of human resources. We need to first analyze the organizational objectives, based upon analyze the present human resources, so that you have to forecast future human resources. So you need to also estimate the manpower gaps, and formulate an action plan for this human resources action, monitoring, controlling, and all the feedbacks that you need to do. So that is international HR planning. So now let us see the recruitment and selection. So recruitment, what is meant by recruitment? Recruitment is nothing but just stimulating the employees, or the stimulating the candidates with you. Okay. Now the major objectives of international recruitments are elaborating ways and techniques which will allow the organization to attract a sufficient number of motivated and qualified international candidates. Means you need to attract a sufficient number of employees towards your organization. So if people, if you are doing some kind of recruitment and selection, people should show, means the candidates, the qualified candidates should show interest in order to apply to your company. So that is nothing but recruitment. So elaborating ways and techniques which will allow the organization to attract a sufficient number of motivated and qualified international candidates, and identifying the candidates susceptible to filling foreign positions at the lowest possible cost. You need to identify the people, you need to identify the candidates, you need to see where the employee sources are available or the candidate sources are available. So that you need to identify, and you need to make them to uh, you need to check whether they are suitable to the position which is available in foreign, in other countries. And increasing the pool of international candidates at the lowest possible cost, anticipating for the organization's future needs in personnel is nothing but human resources. You need to pool all these candidates at lowest cost, right? So once if you are able to pool that, then selection, recruitment methods and selection will takes place. Okay, so these three are the objectives of international recruitment. So elaborating the ways and techniques which will allow the organization to attract a sufficient number of motivated and qualified uh, international candidates, identifying candidates susceptible to filling foreign positions on the lowest possible cost, increasing the pool of international candidates at the lowest possible cost, anticipating for the organization's future needs in personnel. And coming to recruitment methods. See here, we have so many recruitment methods like job posting. Hmm? Utilization of internal databases, means the database we have, means potential candidates, their work experience, their skills, their availability, their preferences, their international assignments, if earlier they have done, what are their interested areas of their work, what's their capacity, all these things. So all these things that we get internally, right? So all these are internals. And coming to external sources like internet, campaigning in international media, international headhunters, relationships with the learning institutions, all these are the external methods that we recruit them, right? And expatriate selection. Here, not we are mentioning it as a selection. We are calling it as expatriate selection. Expatriate means the third country. Now here we are selecting them, and we may post in other countries. The people who are belong to our country but working in other countries for us. So that will be called as expatriate. So expatriate selection. So reduce expatriate failure rates by improving selection procedure. Means once if you are sending them to the other places, if you are positioning them, suppose if they are living over there and we have selected them and we have placed them also comes under expatriate. So now if you are unable, if you are failed in selecting the right person, right? So if you are failed in that, the cost and the work, all these factors will affect the organization. So we need to reduce that. We need to reduce the expatriate failure rates by improving selection procedure. So proper selection, through proper selection procedure only we need to select them, not because of references or some kind of recommendations or all those. We need to follow certain selection procedures. An executive's domestic performance does not equate his or her overseas performance potential. Means if you feel that in this country if he or she is performing well, so based upon their performance if you are posting them in other countries, so that would not be a criteria, right? On that basis you should not post them in other countries, right? Sometimes the one who performed in domestic countries may not perform properly in foreign countries. Employees need not need to be selected. The employees need to be selected on technical expertise, also on cultural fluency. So sometimes when you are selecting expatriates, you need to concentrate not only on technical issues but also concentrate on cultural issues also. Means whether they are aware about that culture or not, they can be adaptable to that culture, or they are suitable to that environment. All these things, there sometimes the language, what uh, based upon the language also you should be you have to put a criteria of language also for selection. So all these are all the things that you need to remember whenever you are selecting an expatriate. Okay, so these are the things that you need to remember when you are selecting an expatriate. Now usually uh, the selection methods, how would be the selection methods? Means vacancies, first of all you need to identify the vacancies and you need to advertise. So if anyone with appropriate qualifications and experience, they may usually apply, right? Interviews, it can be formal interviews and informal interviews are that to be conducted, and selection should be done. And sometimes nominations are also made by line managers and forwarded to corporate headquarters. On acceptance of the headquarters, candidates will be informed, right? Sometimes nominations also will be done for the post. Suppose uh, if a person is working in the organization, if his superior posts are vacant, so others can refer that person to that superior post, like how nominations can be done. So once these nominations are done, and it will be forwarded to the head office, and head office will take uh, care about selection and informing them. And selection interview, sometimes selection interview for negotiation of the terms and conditions uh, of the assignment also will be done. Sometimes vacancies will be advertised internally, means within the organization only vacancies will be done. Sometimes psychometric tests, a consist test, some specified criteria. So all these things will be followed. And if you see the criteria for expatriate also, like technical and managerial skills, personality traits, relational abilities, family situation, international motivation, language ability, all these things will be considered when they are selecting an expatriates. Now let us see the cross-cultural issues in international business. The cross-cultural issues means, which is nothing but the differences in cultures of one country to another country, from one location to another location. Okay, so that is nothing but cross-cultural. So cross-cultural issues in international business. First of all, culture is nothing but a knowledge that people usually get by socializing, or what the behavior they exhibit in the society, all that is nothing but the culture. So which is nothing but it is a form of values, attitudes, or influential or influences. So all these are usually have effect on the behavior of a person. So now if you see the core components of the culture, the first here I just mentioned you some of the core concepts of culture, like power distribution, social relationships, so environmental relationships, so work patterns, so some kind of social control. All these are nothing but the core components. So now let us see first of all the first one, power distribution. Whether the members of the society follow the hierarchical approach of eligatory ideology, means hierarchy, whether which kind of power distribution they are following. So that is first one. Social relationships, so means what kind of collectivism is following among the individuals. And environmental relationships, so means socio-economic purposes, or what kind of harmony is existing in the surrounding areas, so in that particular area and also in the surrounding areas, that you need to check. Next, work patterns, means like one task at a time or multiple tasks at a time, that you need to check. Means it is based upon the culture they usually do multitasking, or or performing a task. Next one, uncertainty and social culture, social control. So whether the members of the society are try to avoid uncertainty, means not risk takers, they are bounded to certain rules. So that also very important. If they are not a risk takers for certain kind of jobs, they are not suitable. So that you need to check whenever you are selecting the employees. And that would be one of the issue in cross cultural cross cultural issues. And one more thing, critical issues like inadequate trust. Sometimes we may not trust some of the people, right? Some of the country people. Okay, do you got it? So inadequate trust and perception. Sometimes we may perceive in one way. We may perceive in one way, and people, usually people from advanced countries, we may feel they are superior, or people from developing countries or underdeveloped countries, we may feel inferior. So like how, based upon the perception. Next, based upon the false communication, if you are unable to communicate them properly, see, sometimes signs, nodding the head, sometimes through hand gestures, sometimes through facial expressions. So some kind of false communication they may perceive, right? So that all these are some of the critical issues that is existing in cross cultural issues. And communication style, some communication style, some people may give you or may direct you in direct style, some people may in indirect style, someone in elaborate manner, means explaining all the things repeatedly many times, they may sometimes explain you. Some people will tell you the exact information, right? Some people will follow contextual style, means they focus on the speaker's title and design and hierarchical relationships, that's all. Some people may follow personal style, means they usually speak personally, means a reference of a special person, and some kind of hierarchical relationships they usually follow. And sometimes effective or instrumental. In the effective style, usually the communication is more relationship oriented, and in case of instrumental, the speaker is more goal oriented, means they used to explain only about uh, means they'll be confined to that topic, what they want to think, what they want to discuss. So all these are all the types of communications. Now you can see non-verbal, sometimes non-verbal clues, like your body language, your interpersonal distances, artigraphs, languages that we see. Art, uh, Paralanguages is nothing but your loudness, your pitch, your speed rate, means how many words that you are speaking for a minute or for a particular cycle. So that's what they may check. Sometimes the cosmetics, means what kind of fragrance or deodorants that you are using. Based on that also, people may perceive some information. So, and sometimes the time symbol, appropriateness of the time. So whether we are attending the calls properly, or starting the calls, or finishing the calls properly, uh, all these things also will be checked. in some countries they may give more priority to these also, whether you are finishing when you scheduled a meeting, whether it is starting for the time and it is ending for the time, whether they are maintaining this time discipline or not. Based on the time zones, people will follow different uh, things. Okay, so these are all nothing but the cross-cultural issues in international business. So about some of the critical issues, like some of the critical issues, communication styles, and some of the clues, right? So this is the end of the session and also end of the unit. So we discussed many concepts in this unit, like issues involving in international production, right? Vertical integration, types of integration, sourcing, international sourcing, reasons, challenges, international marketing activities with many examples, branding strategies, issues in financial markets, forex market, international monetary system, international financial markets, export finance, HR activities, global recruitment and selection, cross-cultural issues, expatriate selection and their criteria. All these are all the topics we covered in Unit 5, and this is the end of the syllabus. If you have any doubts, you just contact me. Thank you.